Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Wonderfully Made. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I really appreciate it. Today I have for you a quick review and demo using McGrath's Mothership eyeshadow palette number 2. And I believe the name of this palette, yes, the name of this palette is called Sublime. And I used this eyeshadow palette to create this look. Before I get to it though, I do want to thank all of my subscribers so much for your support, for always coming to my channel and watching my videos. I appreciate that so much. If you have stumbled upon this channel for the first time, then I am going to ask you to hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up with what I have going on this channel. I am just trucking along, trying my best to reach 1,000 subscribers, and as soon as I reach that 1,000 subscriber milestone, I will host a fabulous giveaway. So enough of that, let's get to why you clicked on this video. And that is because I am featuring McGrath's Mothership palette number 2 in Sublime. And let me just say, I absolutely love the box that it came in. It is absolutely beautiful. The only problem I have with it is that mine came damaged. If you can see this, my box came damaged, and I was a little bit disappointed about that because the box is absolutely beautiful, and it's probably something I would keep to display somewhere in my vanity area. And I may fix the box. You know, I may go ahead and try to fix the box. But that being said, the box is very pretty. You just kind of open the box up like this. And when you open it up, you have the eyeshadow palette in the box. So in today's video, you will get to see my first impressions and how these eyeshadows performed. And I'm not mad at how the look came out. I'm not mad at it. So the palette is a very sleek black palette. It's very pretty. It has like these gold embellishments on it. I don't know if these are logos or not, but when you go on to McGrath's website, you will see these little logos, and it is basically embedded into the palette. It's like etched into the palette. Very sleek, very simple, very pretty. And the back is in gold. Now the names of the eyeshadows in the palette are written on this little black cardboard insert that just sits inside the palette. I will say that I don't like that. I do wish that the names of the eyeshadows would have been etched in the palette, on the eyeshadow palette itself. But I will probably keep this so that I can keep up with what the names of the eyeshadows are. The names are not written on the back of the palette or anywhere on the palette, and I don't like that. Auntie Pat, I love you, but you could have written the names of these shadows on the palette. I mean, you know, you're charging us $125. We love you. We really do, but you could have written the names on the palette. Just saying, but I still love you. And beautiful jewel tone colors, berries, purples, bronzes. Love the colors in this eyeshadow palette. The palette is very heavy. It's very weighted. It does not feel cheap at all. Beautiful mirror inside of the palette. You can tell that the mirror is a quality mirror. The clarity, even with the little film over the mirror, because I haven't taken the film off of it yet, the clarity is outstanding. So the quality of this palette, the quality of the eyeshadows, I'm gonna just tell you right now, A1 in my opinion. So here are the swatches. The first one is called Skin Show Glow. and it is like a matte pink shade. It's almost a satin matte shade, and that is what it looks like. The next one is called Copper Toned. The next one is called Iconic. The next one is called Bronze 005. The next shade is called VR Nectar. And do you see this shadow? Okay, let's talk a little bit about VR Nectar. In the pan, this color looks yellow gold. Yellow gold. But it reflects off the light differently as you turn it around. But it pretty much looks yellow gold in the pan. But when you swatch it, and I just swatched it for you, you see it comes off like a duochrome pink shade. Who knew? If I had known that when I started my eyeshadow look, I probably would have featured this color, even though I did use that color in the inner tear duct. But I thought it was a yellow gold type of shade, but it is a berry pinkish, almost duochrome like shade, because as I turn my arm, I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up or not, but you can definitely see gold peeping through the pink. Love this shade. Now that shade is very, very unique in my opinion. Now for the last row, the first shade is called Extreme Black. And it is definitely a very black shade. It's not swatching that great, but it's a beautiful shade. And it does have some very fine flecks of pink glitter in this shade. Very pretty. I mean, you can barely see it, but you can see it. So I really like that shade. The next shade is called Dark, and it is a matte purple shade. I really, really love this shade. And I'm terrible at swatching eyeshadows, just so you know, okay? Do not judge the eyeshadows based on my swatches. My swatches are just for you guys to see the color. It's not to evaluate the quality of the shadows or anything like that. It's just for you to look at the color. And so yeah, I love that purple shade. The next shade is called Rose Dusk, and it is a berry satin shade, satin matte, very pretty. And of course the main color that drew me to this eyeshadow palette is that beautiful green shade called Blitz Emerald, and that's what it looks like. As it bounces off of the light, you can kind of see some browns or some blues kind of peeping through. So again, a very beautiful, unique shade. And this last shade is called Astral Ghost Orchid, and this is what it looks like swatched. Another very pretty duochrome like shade. This one, there's pinks and hints of silver in it, but it almost looks like a silvery white shade in the pan itself. So it's a nice surprise when you swatch it and you see that, oh, this is a pink shade. It's, you know, a beautiful, almost lavender and silvery pink type of shade. Very pretty, very pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and insert the demo here, and I will be right back after the demo. Okay guys, so as you can tell, my foundation is done. I contoured and highlighted a little bit. My brows are done, and so I am going to just get to the eyes. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet, but oh my goodness, I am just loving all of these colors. But first I'm going to use my Viseart Neutral Matte Palette, because this eyeshadow palette really does not have very many, well, it really doesn't have any transitional shades in it. And so I am going to just go into my Viseart palette to at least lay down a couple of transitional shades before I just dive into those really bold colors. And now I'm going to take a little bit of that deeper orange shade in the Viseart palette and just take that right under that first transitional shade. And I probably used a little bit too much. Okay, so I'm kind of drawn to these 4 shades right here. So I don't know, let's see what we can create with those 4 shades. And then I may add a pop of color or one of the more dramatic colors at some point, either that green or that gold. So the first shade I'm going to use is this shade right here, and it is called Rose Dusk. And I'm going to try to use that in the crease as somewhat of a transitional shade. And I'm going to try to use these shadows without wetting the brush or anything, just to see how they perform on their own. And so, yes, this shade Rose Dusk, even though it has somewhat of a satiny finish, I think you can definitely make this shade work as a transitional shade. Oh my goodness, these shadows are so smooth. They go on so smooth, so creamy, so buttery. And so far I have very little fallout, but I am tapping off my brush. And I may have spoke too soon because I just noticed that I do have a little bit of fallout right there, but nothing I can't take care of. The next shade I'm going to go in with is this shade called Copper Toned. And that is this shade right here. And I am going to use that shade in the center of my lids. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness, this shade. I hope my camera is picking this up. This color is so pretty. Now I will say, you know, that so far these colors are definitely not unique to the market. There are shades similar to these eyeshadows out there on the market, but you know, if Auntie Pat put her hands on something, you gotta try it. At least I did, because I have yet to try any of her eye shadows. Beautiful. And oh my goodness, I mean, these eyeshadows are going on so easily. It's taking no time. I mean, it doesn't require much building up. It's blending out perfectly. Love it. The next color I'm going to use is called Iconic. And that is this shade right here. And I really hope my camera isn't washing these colors out too much. And I'm going to use that right here. Right on the outer third. It almost has hints of olive in it. Again, this color goes on so smoothly. And in my opinion, it's blending with the other shadows perfectly. So now for the inner third, I think I'm gonna go ahead on and dig into that gold shade, and it is called Bronze number 5, Bronze 005. And it looks like a bright gold shade in the pan. And so let's see how it works. It seems like this shade may need to be applied with a wet brush. Yes, this shade definitely needs to be applied wet, in my opinion, in order to get the full effect. But this is how it applies straight from the pan on its own. I mean, I do like it, but it's definitely not as intense as it looks in the pan. Now, let me see how it applies if I use my finger. Okay, now, when I use my finger, it definitely applies with a little bit more intensity when I use my finger. So I'm gonna go ahead on and apply this with my finger just into the inner third. And guys, this is definitely going to be a bold look, I think. I think this is going to turn out to be a pretty bold look because I'm dying to get into that green shade. And I know if I dig into this green shade that's going to take this look to a whole nother level. So yes, this shade, Bronze 005, definitely should be applied wet. I definitely have some fallout from that color, but Bronze 005 color is almost like a pressed glitter almost. And so now I want to go in with this shade called Dark, and it is a dark matte purple shade, and I'm going to use this just in this outer V area, just to bring a little depth to this look. And as you can see, I'm just keeping it right in the outer V, right in that little crease right there. This is a beautiful color. I love this purple shade. And again, I'm trying to just keep that color right here in the outer V. I do think that you can create a very wearable daytime look with this palette, but I'm attempting to go for something a little more bold, but not too over the top. And this purple shade here, this shade called Dark, and this black shade called Extreme Black, those are the only two matte shades in this palette as far as I can tell, even though that Rose Dusk shade is almost a satin matte. Okay, so I think the drama for this eyeshadow look is going to happen on the lower lash line. Yes. I also purchased one of the eyeliners. I purchased the blue one. The packaging is gorgeous, but this is the blue shade, and I believe it's called Blitz Blue. And I believe I'm going to go ahead on and put that in my waterline. So guys, we're going for it, okay? We are going for it. I am dying to use this Blitz Emerald Green shade here, and we're going for it. So I'm going to take a pencil brush and put this color on my lower lash line, right underneath that blue liner. And I'm going to take that Rose Dusk shade and blend that out. I'm hoping you guys can see that. Finally, I want to try to use a little bit of this shade now, and it's called VR Nectar, and that is this shade right here. I think I'm going to try to use a little bit of that on my lower lash line, right in the inner tear duct area. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this shade called Skin Show Glow, which is a pinky shade. It almost looks matte, but it's probably more of a satin matte shade. And I'm going to place that right in the brow bone. I don't know where I went with this eyeshadow look, to be honest with you. I just decided that I wanted to use as many colors in the palette as possible, and so this is what we're working with. I do have some fallout, but the fallout came from those glittery shades. Other than that, I had essentially no fallout from the mattes or those satin matte shades. Okay, so but let me go finish my face, and I will be right back to give you guys my final thoughts. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. I used, just so you guys know, I did use my purple mascara by MAC. I can't remember the name of it, but I will list it below. I used my Tom Ford liner. I tried to create a wing and messed it up royally. But I was able to salvage it a little bit. I also used Pat McGrath lipstick on my lips. I used the shade Flesh number 3 and Alsun, I think is the name. You know, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see, but I will list everything that I used in the description bar. But this is the finished look, and I gotta say, I'm kind of loving it. As you can tell from the demo, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but this is a colorful, bold, fun look for a night on the town with the girls, and I really am liking it. But enough of that. Let me tell you guys what I think about this eyeshadow palette, which is what you want to hear. Now, when I initially started my eyeshadow look, I was drawn to these 4 eyeshadows right there. And as I was using those shades, I was, thinking to myself, well, these shadows are not unique. They're beautiful. They're pigmented. They're creamy, buttery, blendable. They are of excellent quality. But I was still kind of thinking to myself that, the colors aren't necessarily unique. These colors are probably dupable. I mean, there are so many palettes out on the market nowadays. It's very hard to come out with unique shades in terms of eyeshadows. I mean, it just is. But as I continued to play around with the eyeshadows, I ended up expanding the number of eyeshadows that I used for this look, and I tried to use as many of the eyeshadows in this palette as I could. So not only did I use these 4, but I used this green shade on my lower lash line. I ended up using this color right here, which is called, what's it called? VR Nectar. I used this shade VR Nectar in my inner tear duct, and it surprised me. I was expecting it to be like a yellow gold, and because in the pan it looks like a yellow gold, but maybe it's just me because I don't have my eyeglasses on. So I was really surprised when I put it in my inner tear duct, and this berry duochrome like shade appeared, and I was like, ooh. But I absolutely love it. I figured out that this eyeshadow palette has several duochrome like shades in it, and they are very, very beautiful shades. It's such a nice surprise when you put the color on and you see hints of more than one color. It's a nice unexpected surprise on the eyes. I really, really loved it. I'm so glad I used this Blitz Emerald Green on the lower lash line. I have really dark brown eyes, but I felt like it really made my brown eyes pop. I really love the quality of these eyeshadows. This eyeshadow palette is $125. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that we're paying primarily for the name, Pat McGrath, who is an icon in the makeup industry, okay? Let's give credit where credit is due. She is an icon in the makeup industry, and for that reason alone, and I love supporting Black businesses and Black entrepreneurs and Black women. And so, I definitely wanted to support her. When she came out with those, those sets of her previous eyeshadows that she released, I think she released like 1 or 2 eyeshadows in a kit or something like that. I wasn't able to get my hands on those, and so I was definitely going to get at least one of her eyeshadow palettes. And I'm proud of me, because the old me would have purchased all 3 of them. And I wanted to get the one that I felt I would get the most use of. And these shades right up in here are right up my alley. And I also love using green eyeshadow, okay? That gold, this bronzy shade right here is one of my go-to type of colors. So, and these colors, now that I've swatched them, I will definitely get a lot of use out of them. So my final thoughts, overall first impression about this eyeshadow palette is that it is a beautiful, high quality eyeshadow palette. Is it worth $125? I don't know. It was worth it for me. I can't see because I don't have my glasses on, so I can't tell you how much eyeshadow you are actually getting in this palette, but you do get quite a bit of product. The packaging is quality packaging. I was a little bit disappointed about my box coming, you know, damaged, but the packaging, the eyeshadow palette itself is a quality palette. It's heavy, it's sturdy, it's sleek, it's beautiful, love it. So you know what, I'm just gonna take back what I said and say yes. I think this is worth $125. Before I end this video, I do want to show you guys also that I did purchase one of her eyeliners, and I purchased it in the shade, what's it called? Blitz Blue. And it's just a very beautiful metallic like blue shade, and this is it swatched. It has like a very subtle sheen like satin matte finish. Love it. It's very pretty. It dries down matte fairly quickly, and so I really like that. And so yes, that is all I have. Overall, I am loving this eyeshadow palette, but after using this palette, I'm telling you, it's going to be really hard for me not to buy that purple one. It's going to be really hard for me not to purchase the one with the purple shadows in it. But yeah, I'm going to exercise some self-control and not get it. So feel free to ask me any questions about this palette or the eyeliner or her lipsticks or anything, and I will do my best to respond to you as quickly as I can. Let me know if any of you guys have any of her eyeshadows already and your thoughts about them, or if you're going to purchase one of her eyeshadow palettes, let me know which one, and you know, just give me your thoughts about her eyeshadow palettes. I would love to hear what you think. And so yeah, that's all I have. Thank you again. Remember, as always, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made by God, and He loves you, and I'll see you in the next video.